has been relying in part on anonymous Twitter accounts who post coordinates that they dubiously claim contain military assets. This week, U.S. warplanes bombed a location alleged by two such amateur open source intelligence accounts to be a Houthi stronghold, killing innocent bystanders in the process. A Twitter account operated by an individual whose bio says they are based in the Netherlands using the handle Vleki Hond apologized this week after the U.S. struck coordinates she erroneously suggested. In early April, were the location of an underground Houthi military position. It was not a military site. All right, time for me to go through the mud, Vleki posted. Based on satellite imagery, I'd mark this quarry as an underground base and tweeted as such. I'm fairly certain CENTCOM doesn't take their targeting data from Twitter, but this is still a very severe mistake. Except, turns out, they are taking targeting data from Twitter, from random people on Twitter. Think about that. They have to be using AI probably to scrape through Twitter OSINT accounts to develop targeting data. I'm not even kidding about this. They must be using AI to just literally populate targets. They don't care. It reminds me of the Lavender AI program that Israel utilizes in Gaza. West Point cited this exact profile. Oh my God. Vleki had highlighted the coordinates in a thread that claimed to have uncovered a Houthi base, and they had relied in part on a secondary account. Galal al-Salahi, whose bio suggests they're based in Houston. That account, which is hostile to the Houthis, claimed to have discovered a Houthi missile launcher at the coordinates. The strike that took place on April 28th reportedly killed 8 civilians in their homes on the outskirts of the capital of Sanaa. Vleki's reading of satellite imagery, the account later said, was incomplete. They said they had privately marked the target as only possible, and they would strive to do better in the future while posting a screenshot of a 500 euro donation to charity that she had made as penance. I should have never posted it, they added. A message seeking comment from the account went unanswered. Dude, you literally killed 8 random people. You killed 8 random people. Oh my God. Let me say something. She didn't do it herself, obviously. The American government did. They are the arch villains of this story. But on the one hand, I understand why you as a random OSINT account would probably not expect Central Command to take notes from your random posts, okay? She is complicit, no matter which way you cut it. But also at the same time, the expectation that she has is a reasonable one. The expectation that the American government, the most powerful military on the planet, is not creating actionable targets off of random Twitter users, man. What the OSINT is open source intelligence, okay? It is just autistic people that like maps and also jerk off to the thought of NATO dominating the planet, getting together and doing forensic data analysis off of looking at images. It's like GeoGuessr, kind of, paired up with people who are LARPing as spies. The most evil version of autism, except there are some good OSINT guys who have become actually incredibly valuable journalists who I talk to with regular frequency, and I actually do think that they're good. So not all OSINT is created equal, okay? Some of them do end up going to work for the New York Times or Washington Post or a number of different incredible organizations that participate in forensics audits. Reports from local Yemeni news outlets highlighted the devastating impact of the attack. Among the dead and wounded were children, some of whom were later evacuated to local hospitals. The U.S. military and CENTCOM have ultimate responsibility for verifying the information used to conduct airstrikes. The Pentagon has spent hundreds of millions of dollars on advanced data analytics programs for companies like Palantir that include open source data scraped from social media. So, yep, there it is. Open source data scraped from social media as a part of their information gathering process to help the military with targeting and intelligence. Data analysts live by the credo, garbage in, garbage out, which sophisticated intelligence collection is intended to overcome. To be sure, it may be a mere coincidence that the amateur sleuths identified the location before CENTCOM struck it, but the account used for Sanaa strike is known to officials in the military, increasing the potential likelihood that it was relied on, at least in part for the tragic targeting. Vleki Hond has been publicly cited by reputable military-linked publications, including the influential Combating Terrorism Center at West Point Sentinel, which referred to ever-resourceful analyst Vleki Hond in an April 2024 report citing her analysis on U.S. air operations against the Houthis. The report noted she had compiled her analysis based on her purchases of commercially available satellite imagery. This is why I only rely on ELINT in terms of OSINT Andes that don't actually work for any reputable media organization. In terms of former OSINT Andes turned into forensic auditors that work for places like the New York Times or Washington Post, you obviously have people like Eric Toller, who I think are great, and I have talked about how great they are before. They're MHUD certified as well. Eric Toller works for the New York Times Visual Investigations, previously worked at Bellingcat. but we won't hold that against them. And obviously Evan Hill as well. Evan Hill also used to work for the New York Times, but he went from the New York Times' open source and visual forensic investigations team to the Washington Post's open source and visual forensic investigations team. And he is very good. He's very good at his job. They said they're not going to stop doing this work. So now to improve and learn from this, no more posting about possible bases. Look for more concrete signs of these bases, most notably spoil heaps. Yeah, look. This person, in my opinion, also has ceasefire now on her bio, which is extra crazy. I don't think this person cares about the humanity of people in Yemen. Like, you can't. If information that I erroneously posted was used as actionable intelligence to assassinate 8 human beings, I probably would stop doing that thing. At the very least, we're not even talking about like the guilt that I would carry around that would probably cause me to... But outside of that, I would definitely stop doing that thing. Her tweets are all anti-Israel. I don't understand. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure this person is just like really invested in what the she's doing in terms of looking at maps and satellite imagery. That's why I said this is the evil side of autism. In April, CENTCOM announced that it struck the Ras Isa fuel depot with devastating force, killing at least 80 civilians and plunging the country into a fuel shortage that will exacerbate a hunger crisis. The author of the West Point paper, Michael Knights, remained confident in Vleky Hond, despite how this week's attack had gone wrong. Impressive voluntary self-critique and professionalism, rare to see, and another positive indicator regarding Vleky Hond, he posted after backlash over the civilian killings and her subsequent charitable donation. Dropside asked the Pentagon if the strike it carried out that reportedly killed numerous civilians have been drawn from social media analysis. A spokesperson did not respond. Prior claims that the United States had already been using social media account as a resource for developing strike targets had already surfaced in recent months amid the bombing campaign in Yemen. Like, do you not have a guy? Do you not have a guy? Like, what is happening here? You don't have a guy that you have hired internally? We're outsourcing this for free 99 to random people on Twitter? What is happening? What is going on, dude? Like, the administrative state in the past, including in the military, because there's shitification everywhere under capitalism, including in the military, there was a process of a public-private partnership, even with the military. When you were trying to create strike targets, when you were trying to create new targets to strike, okay, because the military, the engine of blood must be fed, okay? It's very hungry. It must be fed. The war machine has to keep going. They would at least like rely on, I don't know, some private group that they've outsourced this intelligence gathering to. Now they're just looking at random people. Oh my God. You're looking at random people online? Oh God. We have devolved. We have devolved dramatically. Just like the conversation around Signalgate was the fact that like Pete Hegseth and Mike Waltz were on a Signal chat talking about classified strike targets before they were revealed to the public, and that was illegal, and not about the fact that we are striking Yemen without congressional approval, or the fact that we are striking Yemen to begin with at all. Nobody's even talking about the fact that we're just bombing Yemen. We haven't stopped it. We have not stopped bombing Yemen. Nobody's like, why are we doing this? The only papers that I have seen going, why the fuck are we doing this, is the American Conservative. The only old publication that I see that keeps repeatedly talking about how we need to stop bombing Yemen is the American Conservative. How is the American Conservative now a peaceful dove as opposed to the New York Times? New York Times has articles about it constantly, but they're uncritical. That's what I'm saying. Like, how did this happen? Every other week, there is another Alden Markey post from an American Conservative headline being like, the American government has spent $7 billion bombing Yemen when they shouldn't do that. Why is the American government wasting so many resources bombing Yemen? Yeah, here it is. The American Conservative, why let the Yemen war bleed our military stockpiles? When DOD insiders are worried, you know something is wrong. Guys, this is from the American Conservative. Yemen bombing campaign achieves limited success, could soon cost $1 billion. Okay, this is from April 5th. 10 days after, they wrote this article. Why let the Yemen war bleed our military stockpiles? Yemen strikes could spoil Trump's legacy. U.S. attacks on the Houthis might kill diplomacy with Iran and spark a catastrophic war. So far, by the way, the Ansar Allah movement has taken down 22 MQ-9 Reaper drones, which are, I believe, what, like 20 mil a pop? And now also dropped an F-18 into the water, which means as like 70 million for the F-18. What an incredible waste of expenditure. What an incredible waste of money, except it's not a waste of money. You want to know why it's not a waste of money? Because that means jobs. That means dollar signs. Boeing's going to have to work on a new F-18 now. Wars in this day and age are not meant to be won. Okay? They're not